Thank you. Thank you, guys. That's all the excitement you're going to get from a peaceful phlegmatic, I'm telling you. That's me. How you guys doing? My name's Manny Winston. I'm 25 years old. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I'm sponsored in business by Diamonds, Brian and Karen McGrath, going 1,000 strong. Let me hear you guys on the McGrath team. Guys, this is a dream come true, I'm telling you. I'm so thankful, you know. A night like this, I never take for granted. I know Larry and Pam just don't let anybody get on stage, you know. This is something that, you know, only people can dream of. Now, this isn't Diamond or anything like that. I'm just excited to be here on a Saturday night. Like I said, I can't take this for granted at all. But how many of you guys want to get noticed? You guys heard the audio by Joe Marquis talking about getting noticed? How many of you guys realize that it doesn't matter anybody in here, your age, your background, your race, you can choose to get noticed? You can choose to. You know, when I first got in business, I got in business as a 19-year-old college kid, working 2 jobs about 60 hours a week, and I was in school full time. And one of the things I wanted to do after coming to one of these events is I said, man, that guy Larry Winters is going to know my name one day. You know, that's all I thought about. How many of you guys want your hero to know your name? And I thank God every single day that I was able to step out of the pack and decide to make a difference and decide to win and decide to have purpose in my life. Guys, you can choose tonight to have purpose in your life. Now tonight, this is kind of bittersweet for me. It's going to be my last time speaking on stage by myself. All right, let me hear you in the crowd if you're building a business single. Let me hear you. There's a lot of you guys. You're excited? All right. No, but I get to say whatever I want to say tonight, which is really cool because I know I won't be able to do this much longer. All right. I get my own time limit because Candace is like, look, when I'm doing this, I'm getting 80% of the time. All right. So tonight I'm going to tell you the truth about how we met since she's not up here. All right. I'm going to tell you how she followed me around VCU's campus. You know, she was ducking and dodging all day just to meet me, just to talk to me. All right? You guys know that's a lie, right? All right, but doesn't matter your background here. You guys, you got to remember, you know, you heard Larry say it when we started the weekend off. All right? People said, you know, you got paid to go on stage to act like a car wash manager. Come on now, guys. They said, yeah, these Amway guys, they're paid actors, you know. And what I always tell people when I sit down with them, I tell them, hey, look, you got technology nowadays. You can go to me, you can go on my Facebook page and look at my first picture, all right, and you can look at now, and you can see the lifestyle change. All right, you know, it just amazes me what broke people say, all right, to make themselves feel better. How many of you guys know that everybody in here tonight started at 0 people and 0 PV? Every diamond, every emerald that stepped on this stage, they started in business just like you. All right, but the older I've gotten, this is what I've noticed when it comes to broke people. There's 3 excuses for broke people. All right, number 1 excuse for average people is why they didn't succeed. You guys notice that when you got into business, everybody would tell you, oh man, I tried that, it didn't work for me. You know, I tried that, and, you know, I stayed in it for about 3 or 4 months, and I made a couple $100, but, you know, I wasn't a millionaire overnight or anything. Because how many guys think it's funny that people say, man, I hope that thing's not a get-rich-quick scheme, and when they don't get rich quick, they quit. But that's the number 1 thing. When you hear an average or broke person, whether you're in Amway or not in Amway, they're going to tell you why they didn't succeed. Now, number 2, they're going to tell you why you won't succeed. All right, by the way, guys, I never compared myself to somebody else that was average. All right, how many guys, a lot of you guys in here, I know this, people ask you, what's the average person making business? You know what I say to them? I say, you're already not what I'm looking for because you're already comparing yourself to what the average people are going to do. All right, but that's what they're going to do to you. All right, they're going to tell you why you won't make it. They're going to say whatever reason. When I got in business, they were, oh, well, there's no black people on the stage. I don't care. Once again, I didn't want to be average. All right, but that's what people say. There's no 19-year-old, no young kids on the stage. So when I got in business, it wasn't that many young people building the business. You had a few different people, but it wasn't that many young people. But they have so many different excuses for why you won't succeed. And the third reason, this is the best one. After you succeed, they're going to tell you why you succeeded didn't work. All right, so number 3, they're going to have many different reasons to tell you why your success isn't true. Like with me, I'm going to tell you guys, because when I first got in business, people used to tell me, yeah, you have to get into something like that early to make money. You got to get in from the ground floor, Manny, like when it first got started. Well, I mean, you guys know Amway got started in 1959. All right, unless I'm 84 years old, that's a lie. All right, the people at the top make all the money. They say that all the time. All right, so they're going to have all these excuses for you. Now, this is what people tell me now. The reasons for why I succeeded. This is what they tell me. I got registered June 24th, the day after my birthday, 2010. You want to know what they tell me? You got in business at the right time. I'm like, how about the other 4,000 people that got registered the same day as me? All right, but they say you got in at the right time. All right, you want to know what else they say? All right, because it's just funny how it works. All right, guys, it doesn't matter whether you're in the Amway arena or when it comes to sports or when it comes to music, it's all the same. People are going to make excuses because they want your life to be as pitiful as their life. Seriously. All right, now, one of the things I never forgot is I never forgot where I came from. I came from very humble beginnings. I grew up with both my parents and, my 3 older sisters. But when I was 11 years old, me and my family, we actually lost our house. All right, so, my dad never wanted me to live like in the city or anything like that, like in the hood of Richmond or anything. I'm from the country, and he still made sure that didn't happen. We actually, we moved in a hotel, and I remember every single day at the age of 11, from 11 to almost 13 years old, we used to take different routes home, so nobody knew we stayed in that hotel. I remember leaving basketball practice, leaving church, leaving school, and every day we'd go a different route so people wouldn't follow us. I remember all the time family asking, let me come see the new house or let me come see the new apartment, and we always had an excuse for why they couldn't see it. But growing up, that's where I came from. By the way, guys, it doesn't matter about where you came from, it matters about where you're going. See what I'm saying? What most people do is they make an excuse for where they came from for why they didn't succeed. All right, you know what a lot of people think? I asked this girl the other day, she's not doing very well in life when it comes to success. But I said, why do you think most wealthy people are wealthy? And what she said is, she said most wealthy people are wealthy is because it's given to them. It's because it's passed down by their family. All right, which isn't true. Now, what's going to be cool is, it's going to be cool because my Amway business is going to keep going. My kids I am going to be able to leave a legacy for my family. How many guys excited about leaving a legacy for your family? But if you want to be successful, it's hard work. It definitely is. And, growing up, I'm sure everybody in here learned the same exact way of how to grow up. All right, that's get good grades, go to college, get a good, there we go, and work until you die. There we go. Come on now. But I grew up, and walking in my first info session at 19, all I heard my whole life was, your college years are going to be the best years of your life. I mean, that's funny, right? But you hear that, everybody in here, I'm pretty sure you've heard that. When you talk to a lot of people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, what are they talking about? Their 20s, right? They're talking about college. All right, and I wanted to learn how to live a life where I could be more excited about my future than my past. All right, and the reason that people say that is, you think about this, the only time the average person is free is when they're in college. It's the only time. It's the only time you could really wake up when you wanted to. It's the only time you could show up to places whenever you wanted to. All right, but I remember when I got in business and I saw people and I said, man, I want to be where those diamonds are. I wanted to separate myself from everybody else. All right, so I do tell people, I do have an advantage. I have an advantage over the average person because the last 6.5 years of my life, I saturated my mind with wealth mentality. You gotta think about it. I walked into business as a 19-year-old kid. So for the past my whole adult life, this is all I know. All I know is reading success books. All I know is listening to audios. You know, I dropped out of traditional college, if you will, but I thought that an education was all it took to be successful. Mark Nathan is my hero. No, I'm just saying that because it says it right here and I didn't write it. Come on now. Where you at, Mark? You said you didn't write anything. Man, that was a bad transition too, man. That wouldn't have been good. But how many of you guys excited about having access to mentorship? Because a lot of people say they have mentors and true, you know, by the way, I always say this in our info session. All right, because a lot of people think mentorship is just listening to somebody because they're older than them. You ever hear because somebody's older, they're more wise? All right, that's not true. All right, because try listening to the marriage counselor that's been divorced 4 times. All right, so when you want to get around wealthy people, guess what you got to do? Have access. I had access to a Brian and Karen McGrath, and I thank God every day that they were put in my life. Why? Because they taught me how to live a victorious life. I remember, I'm 25. I remember when I wanted to, leave home. I think I was 20, 21 years old, and Brian said, "Why would you do that?" All right, one of the things he told me is, he said, "Manny, don't try to keep up with the Joneses." I just went platinum, all that good stuff. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Keep your expenses low. He said, "Stay at home, pay your, at one time I paid for my mom to pay out of her lease when I was 20 years old and get a new apartment. But after that, I just started paying her for rent because her finances got a little bit better." He said, "Stay at home. Your mom cooks for you, right? It's free food, all right?" But at 20, 21 years old, I wanted to get out. I wanted to go. And what most people would have said is, "Hey, go. You're making good money. Why don't you leave?" But I had access to somebody that's been financially independent since his 30s. And he said, "Manny, you want to stay at home?" And because of that, what's really cool, at 25 years old, I still stay at home. Now, I'm about to leave. This is good. I'm getting married, so me and Candace aren't just living in my mom's house. Come on now. But what's really cool is because of the mentorship in this business, and I did keep my expenses low, I have well over $100,000 in the bank right now that I could pull out the bank if I wanted to. All right, the best part about living at home is when you move to a new house, you don't have any furniture. So it's really cool to write a check for have $30,000 in furniture that you're buying. You don't have to put it on payments or anything like that, and you just write a check for it. How many guys would want to do that? All right, so it's not bad. It's not my dream house or anything like that, but we got a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom house that we're moving into, $450,000 house. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, the father, Mike Bundy, is about to get on stage, all right? And he has about 13 houses, all right? Seriously. How many garages? I heard he had like 18 garages or something like that. All right, so that's real lifestyle. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy and all, but that's where I want to be. All right, so he's going to be coming on, and he's going to show you guys true lifestyle when I get on here. But guys, remember this. Write this down. Every result that you're going to have depends on your actions, your feelings, and your thoughts. If you're not getting the results you want in the particular areas in your life that you want to get those results in, you got to trace it back to the way you think. All right, everything that I have today is because I thought about it when I was a kid. I will tell you that. 100%. It didn't matter. I tell people this all the time. I didn't care that I lived in a hotel back in the day. I used to always say, my kids are never going to have to go through this. All right, I always knew back then, I said, man, I'm going to have a mansion one day. All right, like traveling is not really my hot button. I've been able to travel a lot because of the business. That's not really my hot button. I'm the guy that I'm an introvert. All right, whether you believe it or not, that's me. I'm the guy that could just stay at home, have just me there, all right, soon to be me and my wife, so we'll have fun, but that's not good. I can't make those jokes yet, right? Not yet, all right? In 2 months, all right? But I'll be able to just stay at home, and I'm fine with it just being me and not leaving. Like, that's my goal. My goal is to build a basketball court in my house, and just, if you ever need me, you know where to find me. You got to come to me. I'm not leaving. All right? But my whole life, that was the vision that I had for myself. You know, when I was a kid, I never knew how I was going to get it. I never knew the vehicle. Back then, I thought it was, you know, of course, I played basketball. I thought it was going to be the NBA. All right, when I turned about 18 years old, I figured that wasn't going to happen. All right, but I did. I found this vehicle. And because I found this vehicle, it's giving me access. Guys, when you got in this business, what it did is it taught you how to dream again. That's what this did. Because you had all those dreams when you were younger, when you were 11, 12, 13. You had the dreams of the big houses, the fancy cars, being able to travel all over the place. And then when you got old, you got the corporate job and all that stuff. And guess what? All those dreams went out the window. But guess what? You can wake your dreams back up right now. Everybody in here has access to the same thing I have access to. All right, now there are people out there that are counting on you to win. How many guys hear all the time that your six are out there? Everybody, you hear that, right? Do you really believe it? Are you really acting on faith and you really believe that your six platinum legs, your six people that want this as bad as you are out there, and all you have to do is shake their hand? They're just a handshake away. All right, now I'm going to tell you kind of where my first 3 platinum legs came from. All right, by the way, at the lowest point in my business, here you go, Mark, this is where you really were supposed to come up. I heard an audio that was given to me by my upline, Brian McGrath. All right, and that audio was an audio called First Round Draft Pick by the Mark and Meredith Nathan. And thank God that I had an upline that was, you know, wasn't penny pinching or anything like that, that really wanted to sow into me. Guys, the number one thing, by the way, you can invest in is yourself. The second thing is other people. All right, now, I don't know where I'd be in business today if I didn't hear that audio on the way home from school one night. But I remember hearing that audio, and I was at the lowest point in my business, and I had sponsored, if you don't know my story, my first year I sponsored 13 legs. 13 legs my first 12 months. All right, and the first 12 quit. I had over 40 people on my team my first year, and they all quit. All right, not 40 at one time, but throughout the year, I had 40 people, and by the end of the year, I had nobody. All right, now let me tell you guys about leg number 13. All right, I was in the mall one day, and, you know, leaving out of the mall, I was walking out, and I see a friend of mine, well, not a friend at the time, but I see someone's dad that I used to play basketball against back in the day, in high school. All right, so I was pretty decent in basketball. This gentleman was pretty decent in basketball. I'm just going to say it because he doesn't have the mic. All right, so I'm just going to say I was better than him just because he doesn't have the mic, okay? Now, when it comes to our teams, his team won a lot more than mine, all right? But I scored more points. That's how I looked at it. Back then, I was an I individual. That's just how I was. But anyways, I'm leaving the mall at the lowest point in my business, and this guy's dad tells me that, hey, man, my son is actually in Forever 21 right now. All right, by the way, don't ask questions of why he was in Forever 21. But he said he's actually in Forever 21 right now. You should go say what's up to him. And I was like, yeah, you know, it was nice seeing you. And I was about to walk out the mall. And I remember, like clear as day, walking out the first set of double doors at the mall, getting to the second set, and deciding to turn around. And when I turned around, I went back into Forever 21 they had a men's section, surprisingly, all right? And there he was, Randall Ward. All right? And it was a little bit different. I booked him out a little bit different than anybody else. I've never done this before, and I'll probably never do it again. But I was really bold at the time, and honestly, I didn't care what happened. All right, but I remember talking to him, and you always hear edify the man, not the plan. So I was talking about Brian, and, you know, I booked him out to the info session right there. Now, he was in college. I really didn't care. I didn't even get his phone number. All right, I guess I was operating on faith that day, I don't know. But he showed up to the info session front row, and that was my first platinum leg. By the way, you guys saw Randall up here as a success story. All right, he has six legs and 115 people here this weekend. All right, and down line from him is that guy Aaron Hodden that was actually behind me, and you know he's one of the best success stories on my team. All right, because he went 3 years without doing anything, and I mean anything. Like I could add his PV up for 3 years, and it was 115 PV. All right, now get this: he did 300 PV his first month. So y'all figure out the rest. Do the math. But how many of you guys heard that, you know, the function that you really want to miss or the event that you really want to miss is the one you really need to be at? All right, and Aaron heard something at an event, all right, and that changed his family's legacy forever. All right, because 2.5 years later, he was just up here as a new silver. He has 10 legs and 74 people here this weekend. All right, down line from him is a guy named Darius Johnson. Was cool. He's 6 legs and 50 people here. You guys saw Alexis Rumber. This is her second conference. She's been in 4 months. She has 7 legs and 28 people here this weekend. All right, now, leg number 2. Leg number 2 is Frank Basosa. Frank Basosa has over 122 people here this weekend. All right, now, once again, operating on faith. There's a guy that I put in business. This guy, once again, I used to play basketball against. Same type situation. Actually, me and him were a little bit closer than me and Randall. But at the same time, we hadn't talked in about 3 or 4 years. And he called me when he graduated from college. He played Division I basketball. And he said, hey, man, what exactly are you doing? Now, by the way, if I didn't choose to win, I wouldn't have been in business when this guy called me. All right, are you going to get the call from people that either said no to you, or when they see you succeed, see you winning, give you the call? Are you going to be in business to succeed and actually win? So when they call you, you can pick up the phone and say, man, that business is cranking. All right, so he calls me up, asks me what I'm doing. I show him the plan, and he lives, you know, he's just moving to Richmond from Delaware. I'm like, man, right now I don't really have the time to work with you. I'm going to put you in, you know, under a guy named Frank Basosa so he can help me out. So that guy, his name was Josh Brinkley, but Josh, you know, he didn't stay around too long. Before he left, he led to a guy named Darian Brothers. Darian was the best basketball player at University of Richmond at the time. All right, he was a standout basketball player, and he calls Darian up. It was cool. Darian actually showed up to the info session. He got in business, and then right when he got in business, he said, hey, Manny, here's the deal. I'm only going to be here for 2 more weeks. Only going to be here for 2 more weeks. All right, so my mindset, all right, I had just heard Joe Marquis do a leadership. All right, he did a special leadership 2 weeks before I met this guy, and all he was talking about when it comes to building depth, he kept saying, make something happen. That was the mentality. He kept saying, make something happen. And because he said, make something happen, that was my mindset. I said, okay. Well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to meet every single day between now and next Tuesday. And if you work with me, I'm going to build you a 7,500-point leg while you're playing basketball overseas. That's what I told him. By the way, I didn't lie to him. All right, because every day we made calls. My goal was to book 5 guests today. It's called having a goal with a deadline, by the way. If you want to be successful in this business, you got to have a goal with a definite deadline. And that's what we had. All right, so the goal was to book 5 a day. By the end of booking all those guests, I booked 13 guests. So we didn't hit the goal, but we booked 13 guests out. All right, now how many guys hear that the ratio is a 3-to-1 ratio of if you have 3 guests, 1's going to show up? This week was the weirdest week ever. It was the worst ratio I ever had. I booked out 13 guests, and 3 showed up. And of those 3, one of the 3 I didn't even call. It was his negative girlfriend telling him not to get an Amway. So I booked out 13 guests. 2 guests showed up. I don't know what happened to the other guests, but the other guest is now platinum on my team, my second platinum leg, Jonathan Benjamin. And JB this weekend has 7 legs and 100 people here. You guys see how this works? Y'all see how this faith thing actually works? Down in depth from him is a girl named Brianti Murray. I don't have time to tell her story, but the way they met, she's about 6 in depth from JB. All right, in his first leg, and she has 6 legs and 50 people here this weekend. Downline from her is a guy named Joman Muhar. This was his first function. Let me hear if it's your first conference, Winter Spring Leadership. All right, this was his first conference a year ago, and he has 5 legs and over 40 people here. How many of you guys want growth like that? All right, it's all coming from one word. That word is called faith. All right, now, leg 3. It's a weird story right here. All right, I told y'all a little bit earlier. Now I'll tell you guys the truth. All right, so I was doing a bunch of GSMs, for Randall's team at Virginia Commonwealth University. All right, and I was walking all across. I think I had like 8 GSMs that day or something like that. This is when we had a bunch of college kids on the team. We don't have that anymore. We had about 5% of my team is college kids, other 320 that are here. All right, it's about 5%. But back then, we had a lot of college kids. And I remember meeting, who is now my 3rd leg, through a guy that has now quit my business. He was in Randall's group, and he quit my business, but he led me to the love of my life, and that's Candace Lee. All right? Now, Candace's story, once again, is still a little bit different because she saw the business, but it wasn't anything she wanted to do at the time. She's like, this really isn't for me. Now, the way I operate, this is just me. Now, a lot of guys let their girl, all right, take them out of business, by the way. I mean, it might be you, but a lot of guys with no backbone, that's what happens. You didn't hear from me, all right? But I just felt like this was my calling. This is what I needed to do. Now, this is my personal belief. Doesn't have to be yours. But God was going to put the mate in my life that was going to do this with me. That's just me. All right, and downline from her, she has a lot of people. A guy named Don Johnson, another young lady on her team is a chemical engineer. Her name's Megan. Megan Johnson, she has over 20 people here this weekend, new 4,000. All right, but what if I quit? Think about that every day. What if I quit? All right, matter of fact, what if Brian McGrath quit? It's a lot of lives that are changed today that if he had quit wouldn't have been changed. If Brian McGrath, how did I get here? I got here because my upline was trying to go fast track. Come on now. He was trying to sponsor 3 legs and help him do 150 points. He sponsored a guy named Jimmy. Jimmy stayed around. He sponsored 3 legs. Jimmy sponsored his mom, his cousin, and the 19-year-old black kid. All right, that's funny, right? All right. But who knew that 19-year-old black kid would soon be a world changer? Who knew that 19-year-old kid would decide to say, man, my life and my family's life is going to be changed forever? Who knew that 19-year-old kid would obviously go emerald? By the way, this is a passing through point, but would soon be a diamond. And with that, I'm done. God bless you guys.